Hi, my name is Tran. I'm running for Bothell City Council, Position 1. Yeah, that one's a pretty easy answer. As someone who advocates for people who are disenfranchised, I realized that yes, we got a chance to be heard, but did they really hear us? Were they really listening? Because we had been advocating, scheduling rallies, leading marches, doing vigils for all sorts of different affinity groups, and not seeing the change that the community needed. So when I saw that the change was not happening when we were out in the streets and marching, the change needs to happen within government. So in a sense, we're having a little rebellion and going into government to hope to change the way it works and to focus more on the community, especially our most marginalized community members. And so that is why I'm going into this. That's part of the reason why. Yeah. So
what's the other reason?
The other two reasons. A lot of the experience that I have within design, because my background is in electrical engineering, and I've also gone into product management, and I have this title now. It's just a fancy title called Product Innovation Management, which basically means I go out to the field and I go to what's called gemba, which is a Japanese term for going out to where value is created, going out to where things are happening, which basically means for the city, I'm going out to the community. And in order to bring in disenfranchised voices, in order to bring in the marginalized community members' voices, people need to go out to the community. What I realized when I was calling into city council, into those general comment times, is that, and this is to no disrespect for the existing city council members, but they're not as connected to the community as they should be, or that, in my point of view, I would like to see. In fact, we had a young gentleman, Hispanic gentleman, Juan Rene Hummel Jr., who was shot by a police officer back in 2020, July. And hardly anybody knew about this. He was schizophrenic and he's paranoid. And when the police officer approached him, he did charge, but the first response of the police officer was to shoot him within a few seconds of the encounter. There was no de-escalation. There was no attempt at any alternative action. That's part of the other motivation that I have, is that this kind of stuff should not be happening. And to top it all off, that police officer is back on the force while the investigation is open. So we have community members who are not only scared because they're people of color, but also community members who have children who have mental disabilities that are concerned that their children will be shot by the police. A lot of what I would like to do on the council is to focus on bringing up community care systems and programs. That means bringing up programs that lessen the contact between the public and the police. So I have called in Tim Black, who is a consultant for Cahoots, which is a group in Eugene, Oregon, that has over 30 years of experience and success in a program that actually provides a social worker and a medic to answer calls for substance abuse, houselessness, and mental health checks, so wellness checks. And so instead of the police going out there, you have a medic and a social worker going out there responding to it. And they have not had one incident within the over 30 years that they have existed in Eugene, Oregon. And they've successfully made it so that people feel cared for. They humanize the people that they speak with, and they're there. They're there for the people that they're helping. Cahoots is one part of the solution. The other part of the solution is to make sure that they actually have a place to go. So Cahoots will de-escalate the situation and then transport people to where they need to be safe. And those places need to exist. So if it is a person that was drunk, then Cahoots should be able to de-escalate and bring them to a place where they're safe and they can sober up. If the person was having substance abuse issues, that person needs to be able to get the help that they need. So Cahoots can, go there and they actually treat them like people and care for them, and they'll transport them to a place like a facility that'll help them with their drug substance abuse issues, right? And it needs to be a continuous process. One of the major complaints I hear from residents is, well, it's a revolving door. They're always gonna go through it. Yes, because addiction is a revolving door. Addiction is something that we have to support people throughout their journey and throughout their life, because it's if you've ever been in it, it's very easy to come back into it. It's like a yo-yo effect. It's very easy to be pulled back in. So we need to change people's hearts and minds so that they understand that the system needs to be able to support people throughout that journey. It's not just a one and done deal. Then the second policy that I'm looking at is into affordable housing. And that's a lot to deal with zoning laws. And right now, Bothell is pushing out its BIPOC community, its people of color. I've got anecdotal information by talking with people who have wanted to open up business in Bothell, people of color who just are not able to because the city's not really helping them open up their business. There's a lot of friction, there's a lot of barriers in that. And so they go outside of Bothell to, say, Mill Creek, and they're welcomed with open arms. So there's a change there that needs to happen within the city to make it more welcoming to people of color to open up small businesses in Bothell. And, right now the population is roughly 2% Black, and it hasn't changed for the past 3 years. It's dipped a little bit even by a few point percentages. And that's very telling, right? So Bothell has become extremely unaffordable, even for people who are not people of color, just children, right? Children who have grown up and would like to stay. Some would actually like to stay near their parents and their family. So we should let them do that, because that helps build a community. When you're able to have your kids near your parents, it just has that, more community sense to it. Well, as a Vietnamese American immigrant who was actually a refugee that escaped Vietnam with her family, I very much understand what it means to come into America with literally nothing but the clothes on our back. My mom tells the story way better than I do. She said, we were crammed like sardines at the bottom of the boat. My dad and a couple men were at the top to make it look like just a fishing boat so we could, go undetected. My mom said, there was a little porthole right where she was lying down, and imagine a bunch of people lined up at the bottom of the boat like sardines, squished in with their kids and their grandparents and their uncles and aunts and cousins. And this is a war that has a lot of leftovers still. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of mines still all over Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, where children will go up to these balls and think that they're toys and get blown up. It's war. It's something that people don't realize how visceral and what the leftovers and the aftermath does to people. It's trauma, and our family experienced that trauma. So if I understand anything about the American trauma, is that it's long lasting and it has a ripple effect on people's lives. Intersectionality is huge. Lived experience is extremely important. I think that's something that has been missing for a long time at the local, the state, and the federal level. And I'm glad to see that a lot of people, a lot of immigrants, a lot of people of color, LGBTQ people of different religions are running, are brave enough to step up and do something and say something about it. And just be, right? Just be there. Just seeing someone there can inspire other people to go and say, hey, maybe I should be doing something too, right? A lot of what we are taught is that politics is not for me, but politics is in everyone's life, whether you like it or not. Every decision, even our very existence, is political. You, me, everyone's existence is political. My name is Tran. I am running for Bothell City Council Position 1. My website is hanforbothell.com. Check it out.